The dominant 7. Mm-hmm. Aside from being a good way to describe the amount of strokes we had on hole 17 today, it's also a pretty good chord that you can use for all sorts of music.
Probably the most useful chord.
Yeah.
Most powerful chord. A chord that everybody needs to know. And there's a bunch of things you can do with it that not everybody knows about.
I bet you know your granddaddy's G7. That resolves to C.
Yeah. So why don't we talk about the first cool thing about a G7? So the reason why a 7 or G7, any dominant 7, is so useful is because it has this thing called the tritone in it. So if I have a G dominant 7, these two notes here, that friction, that tenseness is a very useful thing in music because on its own, it doesn't sound amazing, but when you follow it up with lovely tension, release. And tension followed by release creates flow in music. It creates direction. When you build this tension, make it feel like it's ugly and then show something beautiful right after, pushes things forward.
It's like the tension of being the last man hitting in a scramble where everybody else has gone OB on 17. And then the beautiful release of also going out of bounds. Kind of like that, right?
That's exactly what we did today.
All right, so yeah, that's kind of a traditional approach to dominant 7 stuff.
So
right?
typically what you do with a dominant 7 is you take, say, a G dominant 7, and you go up a fourth to the major chord after that. So G dominant 7, up a fourth gives you C. If you were at a C dominant 7, up a fourth would take you to F major. And so that's a typical resolution. But there's some really cool things that you can do with it that are atypical resolution. So check this one out. The first one that I'm going to show you is when you take G dominant 7 and you do what's called a tritone substitution.
Okay, all right.
One of the most interesting things. So there are two chords that have that same tension note in them. Those two tension notes are found in a G dominant 7, or you can find those same tense tritones in a D flat dominant 7. So what you can actually do is you can swap out a G dominant 7 with a D flat 7, and they can resolve to the same place because that tritone there is resolving to the same place. So it's kind of cool. And the way you can think about that is just, if you know where you're going, you know where you're heading, just go up a half step from there and then make that a dominant 7 chord, and it will resolve nicely down a half step. D flat 7, C major.
There you go. Just a minor second above it would be one way to think.
Yeah.
I think thinking relative to like where the parents, even just like with like a G7 or something, it's like, all right, well, it's just a G major with the note 2 frets back behind the root note, right?
Yeah.
So a G major
With
with
an
an F is like a great way to think of like that's how you build a dominant 7 chord off of pretty much anything.
Yeah, so that's a great one. It's the tritone substitution, and you use that more in arranging. So if you are trying to come up with like an arrangement where you have a song that goes like D minor 7 to G7 to a C major 7, instead of playing the G dominant 7, there you go D minor 7, D flat 7, C major there.
It'd be like a 2-5-1.
Yeah.
For those paying attention.
It's a 2-5-1, but you're just descending roots. Kind of a cool thing, way you can change it up.
Think of how fancy you sound to your friends right now. Talk about tritone substitutions, 2-5-1s all over the place.
Yeah, it's great.
I love it. Also, how fancy is it that we don't even have cables right now with these guitars?
Where are they?
We're both rocking different types of Enya guitars. You're using the JT collab. I'm using the
Love
Inspire. And yeah, they just have like built-in speakers, you know? And then you can kind of get like all sorts of different...
Yeah.
Different effects, everything.
These are the perfect either like vacation guitars where you're going out to the lake, you're going camping or something.
Going to play golf 6 times in 7 days.
Which we did.
Yep.
And you don't want to bring your amp along with you in the golf cart. What do you bring? One of these.
Enya guitar, right? This video is sponsored by Enya guitar. I'll have an affiliate link in the description.
I love these guitars. They're amazing.
Interested. So let's do some more dominant 7.
Okay, so check this one out. So remember how I said that a dominant 7 resolves typically up a fourth or down a fifth. That's the same thing. So what you can do is when you know whatever chord you're going to, you can just like kind of work backwards. So if you know that you're going to an E minor 7, you can artificially create that tension by just like putting a B7 before that. So if you have like a C major to E minor, if you want to create some more tension within that, because that's not a very tense sounding arrangement there, those chords flow nicely into each other, but you don't have tension. What you can do is you can set up that E minor 7 by putting a chord before it, B7. And you hear just suddenly, because that chord is not coming from the key of C, but it sounds so nice when you put it in there. It creates tension that resolves really nicely into that E minor 7. And so then say the next chord is an A minor 7. Well, what you could do is to set that up, you go E minor 7, E dominant 7, A minor. And so now you're just like kind of pushing, you're continuously pushing to that next chord.
I got a name for that. It's called the 5-chord setup. It's like if you have a target chord, wherever you're going, just take the 5 of that chord.
Oh, is that what you call it?
Make it a dominant 7 chord, and that'll lead you there. That's the cool thing about dominant 7 chords. They don't even have to be in the key. You can just use them as like pointers.
Yeah, yeah. I've heard of them secondary dominants, but like, what do you call it?
5-chord setup.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, coined it.
Did you actually?
I did, yeah, just right now. How about that?
Oh, great.
That's
5-chord setup.
The 5 chords, it makes sense though.
It does.
Right? And then you can just do that like ad nauseum to infinity.
Yeah.
It's like any chord progression. It could be even something super, just like, even if it's like outside.
Well, you see this one all the time. Like, so say you run from a C major, F, you might see C, C7, F. On forever.
Don't have to worry about what key you're in. Like, there's a cool move that one of my favorite writers does a lot, Elliott Smith. He does the thing where he takes major chords and moves them in minor thirds. Like, for example, like having like a C major. That's a very outside move, right? To go from like C, just up 3 frets higher, and then go to like an E flat. If you want to even set it up like that.
Oh yeah, cool.
Right? And that's kind of like that 5-chord setup. And the way that a guitar is just set up with the strings, it's always easy to find the 5 of any chord, because anytime you're rooting on the A string, it's just the string below it.
Yeah. Should we do another one?
Yeah, why not? We got time for one more?
One more. Okay,
All right.
So check this out. So anytime you are using any of these dominant 7s, there are 2 ways you can approach the extension. So within a dominant 7, there are 4 notes. You have the root note. So in like a G dominant 7, you'd have a G. Then you would also have the 3rd, which is a B in a G major 7. Then you have the 5th, which is the D. And then you have the flat 7, which is the F. So there are other notes that you can put on top of that. You can put the 9th or the 13th. So in a G dominant 7, the 9th is the note that is 2 half steps above the root. So in a G dominant 7, that's the A. You can add that in there, or you can add the 6th or the 13th in a G dominant 7. That is 6 notes away from the G. G, A, B, C, D, E. So you can add the E in there as well. So now you have the 13 or the 6. That note there, or the 9. And suddenly that G dominant 7 has a whole lot of more harmonic information. Sounds jazzy, sounds spicy. And the cool thing with these chords is you can either use these ones, and typically you would use those when you're going to a major chord. And then when you're going to a minor, you would turn those 2 notes, like you would take them down a half step, so you have the flat 13 and the flat 9. So if I'm going to a C minor, I might play something like this. That sounds kind of nice. And if you want to even get really crazy, you can take those minor extensions that you put on the G7. So typically you're expecting to hear that go to a minor chord, but if you make it go to a major chord, it sounds kind of cool too.
I love it.
Yeah.
I do want to talk just for a second about the naming of these, Because I was always very confused before I knew any music
Okay,
theory.
yeah.
You see these as just kind of symbols. Like, okay, G7. Well, until you know that actually G7 is shorthand for G dominant 7, which I have issue with. I feel like G major 7 is more important. That should get the
dominant name.
Yeah, that should be a G7. But anytime you don't see major or minor before that, it means it's a 7. Same with the G9.
And when it says 7, it means flat 7, like
Yes.
the 7 of the chord. The note that is 7 notes away is a minor 7 away.
Yeah,
or
so it
flat
means it's
7
like
away.
a major chord with a minor 7 on top of it.
Yeah,
right?
you know, understanding how all this stuff works and how it mixes together is actually like super important.
Yep.
I got a free ebook that you can check out.
What?
That actually goes over all of this
Oh
stuff.
my gosh.
Completely free. It goes over a number of things that every guitar player really should know, laid out in a nice, sweet and easy ebook that you can download. Link in the description.
That's great. Because also when you're starting off and you're like self-taught like I would see like a chord like G9 or G13. And I wouldn't know, oh, this is shorthand for G dominant 9, G dominant 13.
Yeah, G dominant 7 with a 13.
Yeah, especially knowing that it starts with a major chord, you would just think, like, okay, G9 is a G chord with like a 9, a G chord with an A. Well, that's actually like, kind of like a G add 9, or a G major 9, depending on what you're saying. So I think that like the shorthand of it, knowing that it does imply a dominant chord, is something that maybe we don't talk enough about.
We should start talking about it more.
Yeah,
And we started today.
Do it. Grab the ebook, impress your friends, Tritone substitutions, put up a 7 on a par 5 that should have been an easy bird, and then get yourself an Enya Smart guitar. Thanks so much for watching. I'll talk to you in the next video.